Hello friends, welcome to my channel Irsha Safety Study World. The main objective of this video series is to become a certified safety professional. Friends, sorry for the delay as it's very difficult to make videos while working and having lots of other things to do. But as I promise, I will keep sharing with the questions answer for ASP CSP exam preparation. So our today's video about question from 13 to 20 domain 1. It's about advanced science and maths, concept-wise understanding. If you are new to this channel, please subscribe, like and share so that you will get more videos. In this video, we will not only see question answer but also try to understand concept, because as we all are know that CSP is not easy task. CSP needs lot of effort, consistent hard work and deep concept understanding. Nowadays, many HSC professionals who are preparing for CSP exams, we all are very busy in the jobs and it is very difficult to open book and go through each domain. In this video, I tried my best to show concept with each question. So let's start the video. Question number 13. Occupational hearing loss involves three main frequency range and affects specific anatomical parts of the ear. Choose the correct audible level in relation to the affected anatomical ear organ. So these are the four options we have. Hearing loss 3000 to 6000, which affect the cochlea and semicircular canals. B 2000 to 4000, affecting the cochlea and organ of Corti. Hearing loss 4000 to 8000, the middle ear affecting the tympanic membrane and cochlea. And option D is 6000 to 10,000, the external ear affecting the lobule and scapha. So here we need to understand that hearing loss involves three main frequency range that damage internal part of the ear. If you know the answer, please write in the comments. So according to you, which is the right answer, please write in the comment box. So we will see the answer. So friends, answer is B, hearing loss within the range of 2000 to 4000 Hz, which affect the cochlea and organ of Corti. So we will see some explanation. Habitual exposure to noise above 85 decibel will cause a gradual hearing loss in significant number of individuals, and louder noises will accelerate this damage. Noise defined as unwanted sound, and the ears have considerable comeback power from brief exposure to intense noise and recover within 14 hours. That is called temporary threshold shift. The average measured hearing range of any normal person is between 20 to 20,000 frequency. Below 20 is subaudible and above 20,000 is ultrasonic. Human speech range from 300 to 4,000 frequency, and generally noise induced hearing loss occur at a pitch of 2000 to 4000 Hz. So let's see about cochlea and organ of Corti function in next slide. This reference by Fundamental of Industrial Hygiene 6th edition. Here we understand the function of the cochlea. Cochlea is the auditory organ present in the inner ear. Auditory receptors are present in the cochlea. It converts the auditory signal to neural impulses, which are carried by the afferent nerves, fibers and auditory nerves to the brain, where it is integrated and we hear the sound. You can see with the picture I have marked with the arrow how cochlea is present inside the ear and function of the cochlea. So it's a main function to convert the auditory signal to neural impulse. Friends, now we will see the function of the organ of Corti. The function of the organ of Corti is to convert sound into electrical signal that can be transmitted to the brainstem through the auditory nerve. The organ of Corti is located in the cochlea between the vestibular duct and the tympanic duct and is composed with hair cells. So you can see the picture also, you can understand where it is present. And let's see the process of normal hearing in details in next slide. So friends, I hope your concept is getting clear with this presentation. To understand how loud noises can damage our hearing, we have to understand how we hear. Sound waves enter the outer ear and travel through a narrow passageway called the ear canal, which leads to the eardrum. The eardrum vibrates that sound waves and send this vibration to three tiny bones in the middle ear. These bones are called malleus, incus and stapes. The bones in the middle ear transfer the sound vibration from the air to fluid vibration in the cochlea, which is shaped like a snail and filled with fluid. So once the vibration causes the fluid inside the cochlea to ripple like wave, a traveling waveform, as the hair cells move up and down, microscopic hair-like projection known as stereocilia creating an electrical signal. The auditory nerve carries this signal to the brain, which translates it into a sound that we can recognize and understand. So friends, how we are lucky, so lengthy process is done regularly without any interruption, and we are very lucky to have a proper hearing. So friends, very important part of this noise related question, we need to understand the recommended exposure limit for noise base. The NIOSH, the National Institute for Occupational Safety and Health, recommended exposure limit for noise is 85 decibel and OSHA is 90 decibel for all workers for an 8 hours a day. A person exposed to 85 decibel as per NIOSH or 90 decibel as per OSHA over an 8 hours worksheet will reach 100% of their daily noise dose. Any noise above 140 decibel is not permitted. The noise dose is based on both the sound exposure level and how long it lasts, duration. So for each increase 3 decibel for NIOSH or 5 decibel for OSHA in noise level, the duration of the exposure should be cut in half. So in the next slide, table shows the relation between the sound exposure level and duration for both NIOSH and OSHA. So friend, as per this table you can see the relation between exposure level and duration of exposure. In the first column, the time to reach 100% noise dose compared with the NIOSH and OSHA recommended exposure level. If worker worked for 8 hours, he will reach 100% noise dose, 85 decibel as per NIOSH and 90 decibel as per OSHA. Then increase in every 3 decibel or 5 decibel respectively as per NIOSH or OSHA level, the duration of the exposure should be cut in half. So you can see if exposure is 88 decibel, the work duration should be 4 hours. If it is 91 decibel, it should be 2 hours. 94, 1 hour. 97 decibel, half hour, 30 minutes. And if it is 100 decibel as per NIOSH, it should be 15 minutes duration. Similarly with the OSHA, 90, 95, 100, 105, 110 and 115. Every increase in 5 decibel, you will cut off the duration half. So friends, I hope you understand this question. Friends, I know it takes lot of time, but it is necessary to understand concept thoroughly. So now we will move to another question, that is question number 14. In the lungs, oxygen is absorbed into bloodstream by passing through the membrane of the dash in the lungs. So we need to identify the name of the membrane which is available in the lungs where oxygen is absorbed. Okay, there are 4 options. A, B, C, D. If you know the answer, please write in the comments. Okay guys, let's see the answer. So answer is C, alveoli. We will see the explanation with the help of this picture. I put picture so that you will understand. Alveoli are where the lungs and blood exchange oxygen and CO2 during the process of breathing. Oxygen breathed in from the air passes through the alveoli and into the blood and travel to the tissues throughout the body. Carbon dioxide travel in the blood from the body tissue and pass through the alveoli to be breathed out. Reference from the Span book CSP volume 1. So let's move to another question. So friends, let's see question number 15. Person's aerobic capacity is best defined as option A, minimum amount of work that can be performed given enough physical strength. Means minimum amount of work can be possible to perform on a given physical strength. Option B is maximum amount of work can be performed on given enough available lactic acid. Option C, maximum amount of work can be performed given enough oxygen supplied to the muscles. And option D is minimum amount of work can be performed given enough oxygen supplied to the muscles. So what will be the answer? So C and D, it's about minimum and maximum amount given oxygen supply. Option A, on a given enough physical strength. Option B is given lactic acid. So what will be the right answer for aerobic capacity? If you know the answer, please write in the comments and wait till the next slide will start. So friends, answer is C. Maximum amount of work can be performed given enough oxygen supply to the muscles. So you will see the explanation. Your aerobic capacity means the maximum amount of oxygen your body can use at one time during an intense exercise. When you perform any type of exercise, your body is using oxygen to fuel metabolism. Means there will be a chemical reaction in cells that change food into energy to give your body energy for movement. For more intense exercise, your body switch to another type of metabolism that doesn't use oxygen. However, your body can only sustain this type of metabolism for a very short time, for 10 to 15 seconds. A higher aerobic capacity allows you to perform more intense movement while continuing to use oxygen. So I hope you understand this question's concept. This is also from the reference Span CSP volume 1. So friend, if you need PDF, please share your email ID, I will share. So next question number 16, the movement of a body segment in a lateral plane away from the midline of the body, means away from the center of the body. Option A, abduction, B, adduction, C, flexion, and D, extension. Very easy question. Just need to understand the movement of the parts of the body away or towards the center of the body, you will get the answer. Okay, let's see what will be the answer. A, B, C, D. Write in the comment. Okay guys, let's see. So friends, answer is A, abduction. You can see the picture, moving a body part away from the midline of the body. Abduction is the motion of a structure away from the center or midline. Abduction refers to a motion that pulls a structure or part away from the midline of the body. We'll see some explanation, basic thing about like what is movement. Movement is a change in the position of a body part with respect to the whole body. It is one of the significant features of all living things. The blinking of the eyes, breathing, eating, all are example of movement. So we can say that every second some or other part of our body shows some or other kind of movement. These movements are possible because of joints. Joints are points in our body where two or more parts of our skeletons are connected together. Different joints help our body carry out different activities and movement. Now we will see others: adduction, flexion, and extension. Friends, in CSP exam they will ask this also, what is adduction, what is flexion and extension. So we will see. Adduction means moving a body part towards the midline of the body. Okay. Flexion means Flexion and extension describe movement that affect the angle between two parts of the body. Very easy. Flexion describe a bending movement that decreases the angle between a segment and its proximal segment. Whenever there is an angle reduced, you will say flexion. And extension is just opposite of the flexion. So friends, question number 17. Which of the following pass through the carpal tunnel? A. Medial nerve and radial artery. B. Ulnar nerve and ulnar artery. C. Ulnar nerve and flexor tendons. And D. Medial nerve and flexor tendons. So which is the option is pass through the carpal tunnel? Carpal tunnel is available in your hand, near in the wrist and palm position. Okay, so if you know the answer, please write in the comments. Let's see the answer. So the answer is D. Medial nerve and flexor tendons. You can see the picture also. The carpal tunnels is the passageway on the palmar side of the wrist that connect the forearm to the middle compartment of the palm. The tunnel consists of bones and connective tissue. Several tendons and the median nerve pass through it. So answer is median nerve and flexor tendons pass through the carpal tunnel. So I hope you like this, the way of explanation and with the pictures. Thank you. So friends, in this video we see the question related to ear, noise, blood vessels. Now we are going to see related to eye. The part of the eye that turns light waves into a signal that is transmitted to the brain by the optic nerve is called, what is called? Cornea, lens, retina or pupil. If you know the answer, please write and share my video, guys. Share my videos because I put lot of effort for this video. Okay, let's see the answer. So let's see the answer. Answer is C, retina. Okay, so we'll see the beauty of the process, how our eyes work. When light enters the eye, it first passes through the cornea. The main function is to refract, bend light. The lens focuses light rays onto the light sensitive retina, where it is changed into a signal that is transmitted by the brain by the optic nerve. The signal is received and interpreted by the brain as a visual image. You can also see the photo of the retina I have mentioned. So friend, now it turns about our digestive system. The organs that secrete bile, stores fat and sugar as a reserve energy source, convert harmful substance to less toxic form, and regulates the amount of blood in the body, what we called kidney, liver, duodenum or stomach. You can see the beautiful picture also, how digestive system and excretory system works. So the answer kidney, liver, duodenum or stomach. Okay, we'll see in the next slide. Let's see. So friends, the answer is B, liver. Liver organs that secretes bile, stores fat and sugar as reserve source energy, converts harmful substance to less toxic form and regulates the amount of blood in the body. Okay, so you can see the pictures of the liver also and its function also. In the next slide we will see about kidney, duodenum and stomach, how they work, what is their function, so that in CSP if question will come we can answer. Okay, so in this slide we will see the function of the kidney. Kidney remove waste product from the blood and produce urine. As blood flow through the kidneys, the kidney filter waste product, chemical and unneeded water from the blood. We all know how kidney function, basically removal of the waste from the blood, right? Now we'll see that duodenum is the first and shortest segment of the small intestine. It receives partially digested food, we call chyme, from the stomach and play a vital role in the chemical digestion of chyme in preparation for absorption in the small intestine. Okay, so duodenum is a basically part of the small intestine which play a main role in absorption of the food in the intestine. Now we will see the stomach. Stomach receive chewed food from the esophagus. Whatever we eat, it transfers through the esophagus. Tiny glands in the stomach lining secrete juice, gastric juice, which contains acids, mucus and enzymes. So friends, I hope you are having a good understanding of the concept and questions. Thank you. So friends, let's do the last question of the video, that is question number 20. I hope you are enjoying my video. The question is about blood vessels and nerves of the skin are found where? A. Epidermis, B. Hypodermis, C. Stratum corneum, D. Dermis. You can see the pictures. There are different stages, layer of the skin. So where blood vessels and nerve of the skin are present. If you know the answer, please comment, share my video, subscribe. So friends, the answer is D. Dermis. The dermis is the layer of skin that present beneath the epidermis and above the hypodermis. We also say subcutaneous layer. It is the thickest layer of the skin made up of fibrous and elastic tissue. It provides strength and flexibility to the skin. It contains connective tissue which include blood vessels, elastic fibers, collagen fibers, fibroblast, mast cell and nerves. So these are the things are available in dermis. Okay. So in the CSP question, they can ask anything. Here they ask blood vessel and nerve. Okay. So apart from this, it contains elastic fibers also, fibroblast also, mast cells also. Okay. You can see the picture also, the layer of skin, epidermis, dermis and subcutaneous tissue. Let's see about layer of skin and its function. Okay, on next slide. Please subscribe my channel. Friends, please subscribe. I need your support. Thank you. So friends, first we will understand about the skin. Skin is the largest organ of the body. Okay, this is also one of the main point. It is the largest organ of the body with a total area of about 20 square feet. Skin protects us from the microbes and the elements, help regulate body temperature, permits the sensation of touch, heat and cold. Skin has 3 layers. Epidermis, the outermost layer of the skin, provides a waterproof barrier and creates our skin tone. The dermis beneath the epidermis contains tough connective tissue, hair follicles and sweat glands. The deeper last layer, which is called subcutaneous tissue, hypodermis, is made up of fat and connective tissue. Okay friend, so these are the some basic information about the skin, how many layer and what is their function, how they protect our skin. Okay, so this is the end of the video. We have covered almost 8 questions today from 13 to 20 and all from domain 1, maths and science. Alright, so friends, if you like my video, please like, share and subscribe your channel Irshad Safety Study World. Next video I am going to make about question from 21 to 30 from domain 2, which is management system. Okay, so if you need any notes, PDF, information related to ASP, CSP exam preparation, please do comment your email ID in my comment box or in my WhatsApp so that I will share you. Thank you guys. Thank you so much. Bye. Take care.